Of Mario's Bowl and the Galaxy Lanes in Thunder Bay. Works as a supervisor at the Thunder Bay 55 plus the Senior Community Center.
Good comeback on this shot. After she punched that 3-pin last frame, she made a really good attempt on the spare. This one, she got it in the same location, just a little bit thin, leaves the left corner. Covers up the spare. Well done.
That's better for her.
Maybe a little bit more of a confidence builder too.
Her league average 250.
There you go.
Just a bad break.
A little bit flush on the pocket. Kind of high right side that time. Ball started to make a move and didn't get all the way across the head pin. Just right of the center arrow. Yeah, that's a tough break. That 3-pin bouncing around in front of the corner.
Got it.
Look out.
That's a giveaway. In tennis, you talk about the unforced errors, and that may be one of those. So they'll re-rack it. The machine has thought that this was knocked down.
Yeah, it comes off the cushion in the back. Once a bowling ball enters the tip like that, it's dead. Can't come back out onto the playing surface and knock anything over.
Got it this time. She does. So Walchuk picks up the 15 and is now 63 through 4.
The good news is the last 2 frames she's hit the middle, made good shots, just one error on that left corner in the 4th.
Jennifer is an accounting manager for Cedar Creek Drilling.
Very good shot. Left hand pocket, ball broke hard into it. Head pin straight back, 3-pin kind of laid in front of the right corner pin.
And we talked about her previous experience and how dominant she was early in her career, early in her TV career. You know, winning as a junior in the Youth Classic, then winning back-to-back Pins Games championships. However, in her last 4 appearances, including the Canadian Championships and Pins Games, she has yet to get by the preliminary round. And she admits that focus has been her big problem.
Yeah, lifestyles change, you know. She's a young lady just coming out of YBC. The game was her focus. That may have changed a little bit over the last couple of years. Great shot there. She got a little more lift on it. Crossed over the head pin onto the right-hand pocket. Very smooth at the foul line. Great lift, great extension. Tammy miss on the right side. 3rd time this game. She's got to find the zone here where she can get the ball to the pocket and get some decent reaction on it. And that was just overcorrection, force it back to the right-hand side.
Key for Tammy, like so many of the bowlers, you know, relax, focus. As she picks up the 15. The other thing too is to shut out the fact that you really haven't been able to get something going. I mean, you've got 4 opens, only 1 mark.
Thing is, you talk about focus. Focus on the good shots you've made. She left 2 left corners. She missed one of them for the spare, but that's really what you want to concentrate on. What did I do? All the right things when I hit the pocket and got reaction. This time the ball crosses over thin and leaves the right corner pin. Deep knee bend, good extension. Ball turns over, just catches a piece of the head pin going by.
So just her second mark of the game, a spare here in 6. As Jennifer Marshall steps up with a spare up in 5, or a strike up in 5, pardon me.
Jennifer down to just bowling 1 league a week, 4 games, little practice. So relying again on that experience and all the games she's bowled over the years.
Out of the Toppler Bowl here in Calgary.
That's one of the big match play scratch leagues here in Calgary. Great competition. Deadly accurate.
Boy, that hand comes right up and over the head. It's really quite compact, it seems to me, but
it's pretty simple, straightforward style.
now when you say that she's never going to overpower the pins, would you, and that's maybe it's too late to change, but would you have early in her career said you've got to throw a little bit more authority?
No. Right from a young lady bowling in YBC, Jennifer always worked on accuracy. She gets good lift and good turn on the ball, so you don't really need to throw it hard. She has been extremely accurate. That's been what's got her to the position she's in now. One of the best in Canada.
And the spare. So 146.36 for Jennifer Marshall with a spare up in 7. I guess my point would be is if you could, look, when we watch the men, you're going to get some guys who are just going to destroy the pins. And they're going to get away with things simply by overpowering the pins. Now, no woman, with all respect, is going to throw it as hard as some of the guys. But if you could, in fact, bring it up just a little bit, you might be able to get away with something.
But you can increase speed, but maybe and lose some accuracy. So there's a trade-off there. You know, keep your accuracy. Take maybe the head pins once in a while. That if you threw it harder, you'd break up. But I'll take the accuracy.
Okay. We want to welcome Tammy's mom and dad, Roberta and Les, to Calgary and Frank Sisson's Silver Dollar Bowl and Casino.
Through 7 frames, Jennifer Marshall with 38 pin lead plus the spare to count. Just hasn't been able to keep the ball consistently to the left-hand side of the head pin. Everything's bent right on her. Shot. Didn't force it over there either, Vic. I mean, it was just a good angle, good location. No change. Great knee bend. The inside of that 5-3-2 lead.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, another great shot. She gets a good reaction from the 3-pin off the wall. Not very high backswing. She keeps it nice and low, controlled.
And again, you make a good point. The pins will go. You will get action, regardless of how hard you throw it if it's in the right spot.
It's all about the angle that the ball enters the pocket, how much rotation it's got on it.
So now, well, that'll stop the momentum for a moment, but looking pretty comfortable. It'll take a big finish by Tammy Walchuk. Is the potential there? No. Yeah, she still has a chance here. But
well, that opened it up a little bit more.
Yep.
Tammy's going to have 4 in a row to finish. She can finish as high as 228. Ouch, that's a lot of pins to leave on the pin deck here in the 9th frame.
So 203 through 9 for Marshall. And so Tammy Walchuk, who has really had no consistency, no strikes so far, needs to strike out.
A little bit thin, didn't get a break. That 3-pin just kind of keeled over but didn't catch the left corner pin. Now she's only got a possible 211 with a spare and then 3 in a row. Jennifer can count 10 in the last frame and win this match. Good experience here for Tammy. I'm sure she'll be back. First time's always tough. You don't know what to expect. Single game, lights, and the crowd.
As we've pointed out before in previous weeks, it happens all so quickly.
It does.
I mean, no sooner do you step up, it seemed to me, is to throw that first ball, and you think sometimes it's over.
And you don't have a lot of time to warm up, and she's never seen these lanes before, so it's, again, getting used to the environment, the way the bowling ball reacts. You know, what do I need to do?
Jennifer sitting down is confirmed. She'll move on. There you go. That's the big finish. Just a long time coming for Tammy Walchuk. She gets her first strike with her last ball here in 10.
Yeah, that's what she was looking for the whole match. A little bit of movement on the ball at the back end. Great shot.
Nice to finish that way after the open in 9. Just a 7 count in that 9th. And really, when you look at her card, she had the 2 opens, yet she got all the pins, 2 15s. And then she put a string together of all marks.
She hasn't missed the head pin now in 11 shots. And that's kind of a typical Jennifer Marshall. Hit the middle, leave whatever, pick up all the wood and move on. One more for the road.
Wow.
3 strikes, kind of 3 different locations, but exactly the same reaction.
Great finish for Jennifer Marshall. And a big smile from the former 2-time Pins Game champion. Bowls at 248. We'll now wait to see whether she plays Joanne Nadeau or Theresa Mckenzie when we come back to Calgary. It's just there for the taking, either one of them. Just you have to do something with it.
Now it just slid by on the left-hand side. Again, Joanne says she throws a little bit of a hook. She's not getting an awful lot of movement, but that ball, she missed her mark to the left, and with that hook, she missed the head pin even further left. And then comes back and virtually no movement on the ball that time.
Averages 255 at her home center, the Alexandria Lanes. That's all right.
Average 267 in qualifying in the provincials in Southern Ontario. So
2 pins separating them through 4, with Mckenzie up 58-56.
a little better shot that time. Got it out on the lane. A little bit more aggressive. Good follow through and extension. Right hand side leaves that left corner.
And gets it there.
First mark for Joanne Nadeau. And back in this match now. 2 pins behind through 4 frames.
Tapped it, just won't go.
A little better reaction that time from Theresa. Got some rotation on it, left-hand pocket, and the ball was actually breaking into the pocket. Pick up how much movement. A little bit 3-pin cut right in front of the corner pin.
Yeah, it's a much better frame for her. She picks up the spare.
Good spare conversion. Cross lane at it. Just basically dead straight.
Yorkton Bolorama is where she plays.
That's
there you go.
One.
So follows the spare up with a strike. That's her second strike of the game.
Kind of a low backswing, even though she pushes the ball really high in her stance position, but separates the backswing, keeps it low. Wow, Joanne was quick on the approach on that one. A quick look at the scoreboard and shaking her head.
Something I mentioned to you previous week. It is as much, while it's a physical game, it's a mental game. She looks over, she knows she's not generated anything so far. She looks over and sees her opponent, who really, for all intents and purposes, hasn't done much of her result. Now she thinks, I have to press a little harder. If I just throw a little harder, I'm going to, and look what happens. Now she got the open in only 87 through 6.
That can absolutely get in your head. You look at the scoreboard, say, I'm bowling not that great, and yet I'm still in this match. Press a little harder at times. Better speed on the approach that time.
So maybe something to get her started. Joanne Nadeau with her first strike.
Pretty smooth 3-step approach. And good reaction.
The winner will play Jennifer Marshall to see who advances as our 4th semifinalist.
Little movement, right hand pocket, kind of thin going away from the pocket, leaves herself a chop off. Should get a good count back on that strike in the 6th frame. Needs the spare to keep the lead in the match. Look out. Not a big enough angle when you don't have any movement on the ball. She went straight down the lane at that 3-2 leave. Just punched the 3-pin straight back.
This time she pulls it across and will leave the corner. So follows up the strike. I mean, she had something going. She had the spare in 5, strike in 6, and then comes back with an open just to put the brakes on it.
She's got a little bit of a lead here, but she certainly can't afford any more open frames.
That'll help her. As she sits, Joanne Nadeau will come back with a strike up in 7.
Let's look at how much movement we get on this one. Good reaction, good release. A little bit of a backup left-hand pocket. Ouch. Second head pin for Joanne Nadeau. Also had a split back in the 3rd frame. looks like she's going to get a start on things. And then she seems to come right back. You know, strike, follows it up with a head pin. Makes a good shot, corner pin spare, follows it up with a 3-pin punch. So she just hasn't been consistent in speed or location.
So much the way that Theresa Mckenzie did, followed a strike with an open. It's the same with her with a 10 count.
Joanne Nadeau's running out of frames, though.
Yeah.
9th frame here.
Again with that head pin. Imagine this, Joanne Nadeau. Her high game, 448.
Leaving a corner pin on the last ball.
Can you imagine? She's appears just now to be overthrowing things, trying just too hard. If you could grip it
tighter,
hard
she
and tighted,
would.
yeah, she would.
It's very frustrating. She's been fairly consistent on the middle. She's only actually missed the head pin twice in this game, but she's got nothing for it. 1 strike, 1 corner pin spare. 3 head pins and a split now. Mckenzie can lock this game up. Again, just basically needs to keep this on the lane. Joanne Nadeau with a possible 174. Theresa with a spare here will have 174.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
10th frame, just keep the ball on the lane. All she needs is 1 pin, any one.
Well, she wondered if she could compete with some of the top bowlers in the country, and she's showing that indeed she can. As she picks up the strike with her first in 10.
And she's bowled a pretty solid game. 2 head pins, a chop off she missed the spare on, but she's 3rd strike now. Corner pin spare. Another miss.
Doesn't get any easier for Theresa Mckenzie either, with Jennifer Marshall looming.
No, and there's the pressure back on Theresa. As you say, she wins this one and knows that she's got to face Jennifer Marshall, who bowled a great game in the first match.
But a nice finish for Mckenzie from Yorkton, Saskatchewan. As really in that second half, you know, she hiccuped her way through the first 4. And then, you know, just the 1 open, and then marks the rest of the way. So a good 219, a nice recovery for that 219.
It was a bit of a struggle, but she hit the middle, you know, reasonably well. A couple of strikes. It looked like she started to loosen up just a little bit. Threw the ball with more authority, more consistency at the end of the game.
And certainly for Joanne Nadeau, not the kind of game that is indicative of her play, as she bowls a 159. But again, you can just see just the 1 strike, except for 2 of them, on 1 and 7, but nothing, no string. Couldn't build any momentum. And Theresa Mckenzie now will face Jennifer Marshall here in Calgary. Two ladies will be our 4th semifinalist in women's 5-pin play here at the Canadian Bowling Championships. Jennifer Marshall from Calgary or Theresa Mckenzie from Yorkton, Saskatchewan?
Jennifer Marshall to lead it off. 248 in the first game. Pretty solid game. 12 for 12 on the middle. 5 strikes. 4 for 4 in corner pin spares. Great lift right at the release on his shot. So smooth. Hardly hear the ball hit the lane, and yet she gets good lift on it. Theresa got to get off to a good start here. Missed the middle. Thought maybe the end of that game where she started to maybe throw the ball a little more aggressively, and she looked more comfortable at the end of that game. Might get her off to a good start.
Nicely done to pick up the spare, so both bowlers opening with marks in the first.
Just catches a piece of the head pin, but on the big side, on the 5-3-2 side. Converts the spare.
Would you agree with me that confidence may be a fragile thing for Theresa?
I mean, you said in the opening, she's not confident about being able to beat the big guns from Saskatoon and Regina. And maybe part of that here as well. Well, she's certainly got the ability. The confidence thing is the issue. First time on TV, first time she's never made a C5 or a Masters Nationals team. So she maybe doesn't have quite as much experience as some of our other competitors. Took out.
Would you speed her up at all?
No, I don't think it's a question of speed. That's fine. I'd be a little bit concerned about the length of her slide. That can sometimes have an effect on arm swing. She's a little bit upright at the foul line, but all those things are individual things as well, and it's whatever you're comfortable with, however you were taught. You just take everything that you do and try and make it consistent.
So the open frame, and she's 30 through the first couple, and now Jennifer Marshall working on a strike in one. And another one.
Great release. Time the bowling ball moved just a little bit more. Right hand pocket going away, and she still covers up the right corner pin.
Jennifer Marshall, a former 2-time Pins Game champion out of Calgary, has 2 strikes up against Theresa Mckenzie from Yorkton, Saskatchewan.
Oh boy. Yeah. Great reaction. You break up splits like that, or potential splits like that, because of location and rotation.
And look where this hits. And it just moved late again.
It did, yeah. And when the bowling ball hit the head pin, you can see how much it moved to the right. That's the rotation she had on it.
Theresa Mckenzie needs to get something going here. And has the potential of being slipping away from her very quickly. And nice cover.
On the inside again, covered it up, but she's got to hit the middle on the first ball here and try and get some pin count. Right over the center arrow. A little bit of movement left to right on the lane surface. Better shot. Decent reaction that time. She was thick, right side. Left corner pin, and she'll go stand far right. Throw it pretty much straight over third arrow and not much movement. Right on it.
Very nice. So keep some pin count going with back-to-back spares. But Jennifer Marshall now is working on 3 strikes. Find it interesting, Jennifer, with all her success, has never bowled the perfect game.
Perfect game's kind of like a hole-in-one in some respects. You have to be a little bit lucky to get one. And in 5-pin, they're very difficult to come by.
More difficult than 10-pin?
Much more difficult. That's just a great shot again. Right hand pocket, back up, going away from it a little bit. She wanted that one to break really hard. She got it a little bit on the inside.
Now, the unwritten rule in baseball about perfect games, you don't start even talking about it until you maybe get to 7, get to the 8th.
That's true.
When do you start talking about it in bowling?
I'm still bowling some 10-pin, and in our league, you get 8, 9 in a row. People are starting to pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Does everybody ignore you and just let you do your thing? Nobody talks to you as they're doing that?
It depends who you are. If it's a Jack Way or some of the guys that have had 12 and 13 of them, there's a certain amount of harassment that goes on. I think if it's somebody's first one, they pretty much leave them alone.
So the open, but 15 count, 165 through 5. But for Theresa Mckenzie, that's what she needed as well. She needed to stop that. Oh, now that's a tough break.
A really tough break. Again, not a bad shot, but she's just not breaking anything up. Right dead on the head pin. Punches the 3-pin out and then gets a bad break on that right corner pin not falling over.
And again, you point out, it isn't because she doesn't really throw a heavy ball or a hard ball. She's just off the mark a bit. She can still get strikes with the way she throws.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, she hasn't bowled a lot of outside maybe of Yorkton, so not a lot of experience in making adjustments to different lane conditions and even different surfaces. This is wood lanes here. I don't remember if Yorkton's a synthetic surface or not, but that can have a huge effect on the way the ball reacts and the way you react.
And you can see how those 4 strikes really have given Jennifer Marshall a big jump.
71-pin lead currently. Now, Theresa, rather, she just doesn't look comfortable. Can't find the middle. 6th frame now, and she's only hit the head pin twice. There you go.
Nice job. And if you're Jennifer Marshall stepping up now, again, and you're related to other sports, she knows she's in control here. By the same token, she just has to maintain her focus because, suddenly, if Theresa's able to string something together and she loses, a couple of opens, doesn't get the full pin count, it can turn around just as quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Anything can happen. Theresa's still got 304 remaining. Jennifer runs into head pin problems. The game can turn around very quickly.
You think you're pretty good, don't you?
No, I wouldn't wish head pins on anybody. But in this game, it makes such a huge difference. An open frame against 3 in a row.
Sure.
Pick up 30 pins very quickly in every frame. So the game can turn on a dime.
Nicely done. But that's back-to-back opens, 215 counts, and 180 through 6 for Jennifer Marshall.
She might look at this and make a little bit of an adjustment here, just to try and make sure the ball's on the side of the head pin.
So you're moving left, right, maybe?
Depends on Jennifer. She might move up a half a step or a quarter of a step just to change where the ball breaks on the lane. Wow. Open with 4 strikes and now 3 head pins in a row.
And talking to herself a little bit. Now, it's interesting you say that, because for the person who doesn't bowl a lot, I guess I would think the tendency would be to either move left or right, trying to change your angle of attack.
You can do that. That's the normal kind of move that everybody would make. Move left or right to change the angle. I'm a normal kind
of guy.
Yes, you are. Change the angle, but when the ball is breaking on the lane surface, that has a big effect on it too, because it changes the angle. So by moving up or back, you change where the ball makes its move on the lane, and you can change the angle just a little bit. Depends on how much hook or curve or backup you've got on it, how hard you throw it.
So that's 11. 3 straight opens now for Marshall. 191. It's there if Theresa Mckenzie can put something together. So there's the strike for her in the 7th. So that's back-to-back marks, a spare and a strike.
Didn't really look like she did anything a whole lot different that time. Left-hand pocket. You just hit her mark exactly where she wanted.
Now the potential is a 326 for Marshall, 304 for Mckenzie, and see, that's what she can't afford.
No, absolutely not. Now that potential drops to 274. So the more time she misses the middle, the more that potential drops.
And it further indicates what we talked about earlier with regards to Sandy Anderson, who saw last week. A person of that experience is given that opportunity. That door is opened, and more often than not, they're going to walk right through. They're going to just jump all over you.
Absolutely.
And this chance for Theresa, now she's going to get better, and probably as she grows in her career with experience, is probably going to learn to do that. But that is something that's acquired.
It is, over a lot of games, over a lot of match play, pressure kinds of situations. It's not something that you get just by bowling kind of in your regular league play typically. You have to compete at the highest levels to understand what it takes to win.
Leaves up the right corner. But a better ball, would she feel better about herself with that throw?
Absolutely.
Better, so after 3 opens, picks up the spare.
And better about both shots she made, not only the first ball attempt, but also coming back and making the spare. Jennifer's watching the scoreboard as well. She knows exactly what Theresa has left and what she needs to get to win this match. Wow.
How many's that now?
4. 4 strikes, 4 head pins, and a right corner. Again, Jennifer, quick check on the scoreboard. She knows she's got to get to 258 to lock this match up.
Takes care of the left side.
Still possible. The thing is, Theresa's going to finish first. She'll get up in the 9th and the 10th frames. If she gets the 4 in a row to finish with the 257, Jennifer will be sitting on the bench knowing that she needs 35 to win the match. So what it does is it forces Jennifer to get a double in the 10th frame. If Theresa can strike out here.
So here's one of those opportunities, and she responds.
And that's a great first shot at it. Now, lane 33 hasn't been very kind to her. One corner pin back in the 4th. Other than that, she hasn't hit the head pin in 3 previous attempts.
Oh, yes. My goodness.
That's a really good shot under pressure from somebody who probably hasn't really been there before.
No. One more. Coming back. No.
She missed it left all the way, and because she doesn't have much movement on the ball, it just no chance, no way to come back. She cleans this up. She'll have 232. Force Jennifer to count 10 in the last frame.
No, she'll leave 5 on the deck for a 227. And right now, Jennifer Marshall sitting at 223.
Again, keep it on the lane and stay behind the foul line.
And that's just with emphasis as Jennifer Marshall will advance and become our 4th semifinalist.
A little bit more freewheeling that time. No pressure. All she had to do was keep it on the lane. So first chop off in 2 games for Jennifer.
Potential for a 253, and remember against Tammy Walchuk, she pulled a 248. So right around her league average at the Toppler Bowl of 256. Nicely done. Off to that very good start with 4 strikes. That gave her the early jump, and then she was good. But look at the head pins and how she was able to handle those. And then she closes with a strike spare for a 253, and Jennifer Marshall advances to the semifinals of the Canadian Bowling Championships.